Vanity Affair. Dragon Sin Book 2, A Dragon Shifter Romance. Written by Flynn. Chapter 1. I knew this world would sweep me off my feet, I just didn't know it would happen before breakfast. The sweet songs of birds awakened me from a long slumber. I sat up and stretched my arms above my head, as I admired my new room. It had only been a week, but I could already call this little domain mine, what with the overflowing dresser drawers full of new clothes, and the beautiful purple quilt that covered the bed which I had picked out myself. Not that the quilt was needed. Like every other morning, a fresh fire burned brightly in the hearth, and the room was warm but comfortable. On the nightstand too stood a new bouquet of flowers, courtesy of my kind and handsome host, Anya. Their sweet aromas permeated the room, and I breathed in their scent with a smile. I slid out of bed and walked over to the terrace window. The pajamas I wore were my ones from my old world, reminders of where I'd come from and more discreet than a flimsy nightdress. I opened the terrace doors and stepped out onto the balcony that overlooked a small alley. The view in front wasn't great, but the view to my right showed off the vast port that fed and clothed the city. The sun was still freshly awakened, but fishing boats glistened on the shimmering waters a few miles out at sea. The clatter of hooves and murmurs of voices told me the city was already up and about. Another fit of stretching my arms made me yawn. A swooshing noise broke the monotony, and my peaceful morning. The next moment I felt something grab my hand and lift me off the ground. I yelped and flailed about. A cackle made me look up. A witch, complete with long pointed nose and a mole on her cheek, held onto me with one hand while the other grasped the handle of her broomstick. She gave another cackle as she turned a sharp right at the end of the alley, and we swooped over the city streets. "Isn't this fun, little one?" she cooed before she erupted into more cackles. "Thrilling, now let me down," I insisted as I thrashed and spun in circles. The world turned topsy-turvy as the witch did a loop-da-loop and nearly ran into a light pole. I was glad my stomach was empty, as it also did its own flips. "But I've just begun to have fun," the witch gleefully scolded me as we took a left at the next intersection. I couldn't see Asha's house any longer, and my unfamiliarity with the streets of Traz led to a sudden spike in fear inside me. "Let me go," I insisted as I grabbed her gnarled hand and tried to pull myself free. Her thin fingers were stronger than they looked, however, and I couldn't make them budge.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?